So the basic distinction between the old will and the new will is what? The forgiveness of sin. Because at the Old Testament, the old will, they don't have the forgiveness of sin. What they have is called what they call it, atonement of sin. If you have a parent and your parent has written a will, you don't say the testament of my parent, you say will. So that's the right word there. So I would like us to change it in this church. When you say, before you say Old Testament, understand that it's old will and new will. Your parent has written a will. He has like 4 acres of land somewhere, has like an hotel that he runs, properties everywhere, and he has written that one of them belongs to you. Now you don't have right to go and tell your dad that you want to collect the land. Because why? He has to die for his will to be enacted. So that's what we are teaching. For something to be a New Testament, it must be after resurrection. So when we say New Testament reality, we are talking about the things that are God's provision for us after Jesus has died and was buried and then raised back to life. One of the major distinctions between the old will and the new will is the forgiveness of sin. The effect or the result that somebody has come into the understanding that his entire life sin has been forgiven is that he loves God more. It's not to change your hairstyle and become like a paraga on the street. That we are teaching the grace message, what it should produce is a love for God. Are you listening to what I'm saying? It's not that once you hear the gospel, you change your hairstyle. That looks like a street hooligans. So what happens? I just understand I have freedom. That is not the effect. The effect is that you don't love God before, but when you hear the message of the gospel of grace, you fall in love with Jesus. Putting on hearing as a guy is not a result of that message. There's no condemnation. Yes, you are free to do, but don't think that is what he's saying. What it should produce is that you fall in love with Jesus. Because if all you do as a result of that message is to please yourself, now I can dress anyhow. No, it's to make you a lover of Jesus. How do you say that you have understand the gospel of the forgiveness of sin and we are still calling it for follow-up? But we don't tell you how to brown your hair and tint your hair with different color. The effect of the message is to make you a lover of Jesus. The basic distinction between the old will and the new will is what? The forgiveness of sin. Because at the Old Testament, the old will, they don't have the forgiveness of sin. What they have is called what they call it, atonement of sin. Now, atonement of sin is not the same as remission of sin.